Hey guys, Adrian here for the Digital Dojos, and today we're going to be taking a look at 5 tips to saving battery life on your phone. So, this means it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but I'm here on the iPhone 5. I've had it for a good couple weeks. I posted up the review, or actually I've had it for like a month or so now. I posted the review of the iPhone 5, so you can check the link down below or check on our channel for the posted review of it. But just going over quick 5 tips to save life on your iPhone 5. And this kind of goes in general for most smartphones, but there's some unique features in how to, do certain things on iOS 6 on the iPhone 5. So let's jump right in. First off, brightness. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but one of the things that takes up a lot of battery can be your brightness. So going into settings and your brightness wallpaper. Obviously, I like to turn auto brightness down. If you're somebody who likes this feature, basically this uses the sensor in the front to adjust whether you're in like a bright environment or a dark environment and adjust the screen. But then obviously that keeps the sensor on, that uses battery, it's always constantly checking. I like to set it manually just to wherever, I think is right and appropriate, and then again, you can always lower it. Lower, obviously, the less battery will be consumed, and again, if you need it to be changed, you can just go back in and change it accordingly. Alright, number 2, another one that's kind of just a trick, not really saves you battery life, but more it helps you manage battery life. You can see in the top right, I have the percentage showing my battery life, and by default, it's not enabled in iOS. You have to go into General, you have to go into Usage, and you have to go over here and enable battery percentage. This allows you to see it in a number-like fashion. So, again, it just helps you see it in a percentage way out of 100 rather than just seeing a visual representation of the battery icon. You also get to see in this usage tab, you get to see your last time since full charge, your standby, so basically how long you've been on the phone since you last had to, since it last reboot or something like that. So that's a cool little tip. Again, something that some people know, some people don't. So usage allows you to monitor or change that battery percentage or visual icon into a battery percentage. Alright, number 3. Turning off things like LTE and Bluetooth. Again, this is another simple one, but more limited. LTE is limited to that of the iPhone 5, 4S, etc. doesn't have LTE. So LTE, allows you to get fast data speeds. I show this in my review. In some cases, it's faster than Wi-Fi, home Wi-Fi connections. Going into your cellular here, obviously, you can turn LTE off if you don't need it. If I'm at home, if I'm on Wi-Fi, yeah, the great fast speeds are really awesome, but I'm, okay, I'm decent off with just the Wi-Fi speed that I have when I'm at home. Maybe when I'm out and about, yeah, I really do enjoy that LTE speed when I'm downloading apps, sending stuff, email attachments, etc., etc. But when I'm at home, I may not need LTE, or for that matter, if I'm in an area where LTE isn't, so not all areas are covered with LTE, depending on where you live. So if you're in a non-LTE area, then turn it off. It saves a lot because the radio isn't being used. It's not constantly looking for that LTE network. You still get cellular data. You're just using that basic 3G, just not using that super speed LTE network. So turn that off, and just in comparison to that, if you're not using things like Bluetooth or anything of that matter, you can also turn off Bluetooth and any other like radio of that sort that you're not using within the iPhone, and that just saves on battery because it's not constantly looking for that. And the same thing goes for Wi-Fi. If you're not using Wi-Fi when you're out and about, turn it off. Yeah. And if you want to save ultimate battery life, airplane mode will turn off all sorts of those sensors, etc. Obviously, you won't get any data or be able to receive phone calls in that mode. Alright, number 4, push. Let's talk about push. So push under notifications. The great new thing they've done, do not disturb, which actually limits a lot of stuff for push, but one of the big things for push notifications is under mail. In mail, when you set up your email account, or let me go back to the mail settings here, mail's contacts and calendars, you can see under fetch new data and push, I set mine to manual. Basically, this may be set to, I think by default, maybe set to hourly or something, but basically, I like set to manual. It may be different for you. If you're somebody who doesn't need to be checking your email every minute, you don't want your phone every minute of the day or every 15 minutes, constantly looking for that data, then it pushes it less frequently. Basically, anytime you open the mail app, that's when it'll check for new email. So if you only need to check your, you could check your mail every minute or so, and then it'll grab it when needed. But if you don't need it constantly checking every 15, every 30 minutes, whatever, then do turn this off. And this is something I've seen significant increase in battery life from, rather than having it every 15 minutes like I used to have it before. Manually, it's just much better, and especially if you have tons of email, it's not constantly going out there and looking to grab any information off the internet. Last but not least, tip number 5, if you're a huge user of Siri, and that's a big location-based thing, and this goes with anything, location services can take up a lot of your battery life just because that constant GPS apps that use that. Again, it's just pulling data, but in this case, it's kind of pulling location data, which does take up a lot of battery life because it's using that, the GPS, radio, etc. So with Siri, there's a thing actually in there. There's a couple settings you can change in there, but if you are a user of Siri, there's something that takes a lot of battery life, and I remember this on my full rest, was that raise to speak functionality. You can see it at the very bottom here. If you use Siri like most people do, I would guess it just by tapping, double tapping, or I should say holding the home button to get Siri to pop up, then you probably don't need this raise to speak. Raise to speak is basically using the front-facing sensor so that when your ear is up to the phone, it knows to switch to Siri. So what that means is it's constantly looking for, it has that sensor on constantly in the front, much like the brightness sensor, and this takes up a lot of battery life. And if you don't use Siri in that way, in my opinion, I never really have to raise the phone up to speak. If it is a convenience, I guess, but if you're not using that, go ahead and turn that off. Saves tons of battery life, just another sensor that's not constantly running throughout the day. And again, in comparison to that, you have all those location services within Siri. So if you're not using Siri at all, go ahead and turn it off, or go into your location services and manage that as well. Alright, those are my top tips to saving battery on the iPhone 5. Of course, the ultimate saving battery saving tip if you're not using it, if you don't need to receive phone calls, nothing anything of that sort. If you have 10% you really want to save, turn the phone off completely. Airplane mode is a huge thing as well. It saves tons of battery life. So, if you have any more tips, feel free to throw them in the comments below. Love to hear more. Anyways, guys, I'm Adrian. Don't forget to head over to digitaldojos.com. Thanks for watching.